Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Yesim Kaloti. I'm the director of the High Expectation Language School. Today, I will introduce our new book, Touchstone, by Cambridge University Press. In the first part, I will be talking about the features of the book. I will be telling why we chose this book in our language school, what was the main goal, and how we're using this book in our classrooms. So let me just go through some slides with you. Should we close it down? Okay, so why we chose Touchstone. When we designed our curriculum of our school, I selected a lot of materials and I looked through all of them, and I found that Touchstone was the best for our curriculum. Why? Because Touchstone is a corpus-informed course. It has a large database of everyday conversations and texts that show how people actually use English. I actually like this part because it really shows what the daily language, in America, how people speak in America, how they communicate with each other. So the students here will hear all these daily language, of American people in the classroom, and so that they can use outside the classroom. Touchstone merges the best features of familiar communicative methodologies while at the same time offering stimulating activities, carefully crafted to focus on the learning process. So we'll go through the book and you will notice that almost all the activities are highly communicative because the main goal is to help learners to communicate with others. Okay. That's not working. Okay, I see. Okay, let's move to the next one, and it's interaction based. Touchstone has an important learning aim in every lesson is to get students talking to each other. This is the main objective of the book. The strong emphasis on spoken interaction enables students to put new language to use immediately in order to communicate with their classmates. So as you can see here, like in one of the units, they're learning various vocabulary about objects, their own, and then they start talking about their own objects that they use daily in their daily lives. So in every unit, after they learn the vocabulary and grammar points, students start using these vocabulary items and grammar aspect in their own languages. So it's highly interactive and communicative. It personalizes the learning experience. Touchstone offers engaging activities that encourage students to talk about their own lives and ideas as they discuss topics relevant to their interests and experiences. So there are like topics about TV, music, internet, sports, celebrities. So the About You icon, you will see in the book that there is an About You icon that points out some of these opportunities. So the About You item actually enables students to talk about their own, their ideas about the music, internet, sports, celebrities, or their feelings. Okay, let's move to the next one. It promotes active and inductive learning. I like this part. I don't know if you're familiar with the term deductive and inductive learning. Inductive learning is helping students to explore and find out the grammar rules through the activities, through the exercises. So this book doesn't give the rules first and let the students work on the rules and practice the grammar, points. So what happened here is throughout the series, students complete tasks. First of all, they have tasks, a lot of communicative tasks, actively involve them in the learning process, And students are also challenged then to figure out or inductive learning, grammar structure, or English usage. So it enables students to use to start, creating some strategies as well, some learning strategies, which is also very good. Notice that the task in the conversation strategy lessons encourage students to think about how people manage conversations effectively. Word sort tasks, or the vocabulary notebook pages, get students to actively learn new vocabulary. So at the end of every unit, I can show you now, like at the end of the first unit, there's this vocabulary notebook part, and this is the self-study part. So students can practice all the vocabulary that they learned during the unit, and then they can create their own sentences based on this vocabulary. So self-study part is really nice, and this is what I like about this book. Okay, next slide. It encourages students to be independent learners. Okay, this is about, again, the self-study part and independent learners. Okay, this book provides opportunities for students to take the initiative in improving their speaking and listening skills. So you will see a lot of writing, activities and reading activities too. But this book mainly focuses on listening and speaking, because the main aim, the main goal is to help learners to communicate with others, right? In addition, clear learning aims at the start of each unit, self-check and study plan charts in each touchstone checkpoint lesson. I'll show you all these parts, and progress checks at the end of each workbook unit enable students to monitor their own learning. So students can evaluate their progress at the end of every unit, or at the end of every 3 units there's a checkpoint, and students go through the activities and then they can review what they learn also. So each teacher's edition also provides a testing package, which gives teachers and students another valuable tool for assessing progress. I'll be showing it on our program that we downloaded on the computer. It's valuable. It's really useful because you will find a lot of tests, oral tests, and written tests, so you can use for your students, and they're all reliable because they're all tested and used by Cambridge University Press. Okay. Another reason that we are using this book is it recognizes the importance of review and recycling. Okay, I like these terms because again, students need to go back and check what they learn in every unit. So students need constant review, and Touchstone systematically recycles and reviews target language in several sections of the student book as well as in the workbook. So students can access to their workbook online, and then they can work at home or whenever they have free time, so they can always go and check and review what they learned before. Grammar, vocabulary, and conversation strategies taught in earlier units are recycled in later units. So once you finish one unit, it doesn't stay there. So in the next few units, what happens is that the units recycles all the previous ones with the new ones. So it gives the students to some idea to connect or to make an order of the units or the tenses, for example. Like what I noticed in the book is that in one of the units the students learn past tense, for example, and in the next few units they learn past perfect tense. So when they learn past perfect tense, of course they need to go and look at their notes or all the information that they have before about the past tense, so they can connect it with the information of the past perfect tense, so they can use them together. using the adverbs like before and after. Okay, so far so good. Any question, Scott? You're good?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right. Okay. So this is the last slide actually I have, because I was just trying to tell you why we chose this book, to give you some idea, some general idea, and then now we're gonna work on the teacher's edition book. So you can follow me on your computers. Right. Every unit in Touchstone contains 4 lessons. So it starts with the introductory page. So on this page, the students learn what they will learn in each lesson. Okay, and each lesson has actually an objective, has a different goal. Okay, so what are they? Let's see that. Right. Lesson A. Lesson A presents the main grammar point. So can you find lesson A? Right? Okay. Okay. So this is the teacher's edition. Lesson A. Yes. For example, it's about celebrities, right? Okay. So every unit, as I said, has different lessons. So the first lesson is lesson A, and it's the main focus is on grammar. So students will not only learn in grammar points, but they will also learn new vocabulary, and also they will practice them together. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the students' book online. So if we had, I could show actually.
The students' book online?
We don't have, right?
No,
We have the teacher's edition online.
Yeah, but for the future, I have a document camera.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, so lesson A is about grammar. Lesson B is about vocabulary connected to the grammar as well. Okay. So, see, it reaches to a point that students can practice a lot of vocabulary and they can build on grammar taught in lesson A. It may include, this part may include speaking naturally, pronunciation task, and a talk about it, group discussion, or a listening task. So it's not only about vocabulary, but it's about other skills as well, like speaking and listening, also embedded here. Okay. And lesson C teaches conversation strategies, including common expressions useful in conversation, followed by a listening and speaking activity that reinforces this conversational language.
Would it help if I brought in the hard copy of the student book?
No, I have these. Because in the teacher's edition book, which is also nice, you can have on the same page, you have the teacher's guidance, and you can have the students' pages. So I'm just going through first, but then I will show you the pages also. All right. So lesson C is all about conversation. They learn different conversation strategies that they can use in real life, and they learn the common expressions, some collocations, and some idioms as well. Okay. And this is, of course, is followed by listening and speaking. So they listen first, and then they speak with their classmates. Okay, lesson D. After the first 3 units, focuses on reading and writing skills while also providing additional listening and speaking activities. So once students practice all these new expressions, vocabulary and grammar items, they practice by listening and then speaking, and then they have the reading part. They read various texts, and then they do a lot of comprehension activities, and then they do some writing as well. There are a lot of writing activities here too. Okay, the vocabulary part. The vocabulary notebook, as it sounds like a notebook, it's interestingly it's like a notebook. It provides enjoyable tasks at the end of every unit to help students organize and write down new vocabulary. It allows students to customize their own vocabulary learning, working in class, or at home. So the Now I Can chart, which appears on the page, provides a list of the main learning outcomes of the unit. So this helps students focus on the things they can do with the language they have learned. Okay, this can do items are highly important. I don't know if you are familiar with the European Common Framework standards. European Common Framework standards helping learners, actually, individuals, to be able to learn English communicatively. And the standards are actually prepared by the experts of the Cambridge University and from all around the world. So they come up with these standards, and these standards are used all around the world, and especially with the books. So there are I can do items which help learners to understand what they can do in language. Can they speak? Can they listen? Can they write or read? But the items are highly specific, and there are so many. But all the Cambridge University books are designed based on these standards, and that's why we're also using these Touchstone. So we're actually taking these standards into consideration and as reference. Okay. Now, let's see a unit in our teacher's book. Oh, by the way, because the corpus is really important for Touchstone. In Touchstone, you will see that the top 500 spoken words. So they do a lot of investigation. They do a lot of research about corpus. And then they come up with these 500 spoken words, most frequently used words in America. So these are also included in the students' books. So students can see all these words, and they can, use them in their own language, etc. Okay. Now here's Unit 1. As I said, the first page is always introductory page. Tell students what they will learn in Lesson A, Lesson B, C, and D. Okay, and of course it has a title. Every unit has a title, and so it also helps students what they should be reviewing within this unit, and what they should be learning and practicing. In other words, what they can do. These I can do items. So it starts with giving the students the objectives. So by the end of this unit, I should be, or I can do this and that. All right, Lesson A starts with this started. Okay, we have these vocabulary, some authentic language. They're becoming familiar. And then they have a lot of listening and speaking practice. Okay, and then we have, of course, in every page, next to every page, we have the teacher's edition guidance, which guides teachers, in their lesson plans, what activity or what sequence they can use all these. Right? Okay, building vocabulary part has like 2 or 3 activities. The first part always comes with the listening, and then the second part sometimes is the pronunciation or the listening again, and the last part is writing and speaking. So once they finish the charts or tables or graphs, they can practice this language with their classmates. Okay, and part B, as I said, it's like a continuation of the first lesson. So they practice not only the grammar but also new vocabulary, right? And there are a lot of spelling activities in the book too, not only pronunciation but spelling as well. So building the language is a lot of grammar and writing activities. Students not only practice the grammar part, but they also practice speaking, how they can use these grammar points in the speaking and listening. So this part helps students to improve their listening and speaking skills, as well as writing. personal information. Okay. Remember we said that Touchstone encourages learner to personalize what they learn during the lesson. So whatever they learn in the unit, students start using for themselves or to make their own sentences and to be familiar with these items and to personalize the information. So they can come up with, writing their own, for example, emails or letters or their own conversations, daily conversations. So it's very useful actually. All right, and the last part is again grammar, and we have the lesson B part, conversation strategies. Students practice a lot of speaking here and listening. So they don't only read and listen and practice like repeating the sentences and words, but they also practice the speaking with their classmates. So it's very useful as well. And at the end, we have the vocabulary notebook part, which I mentioned before. So this is a very good self-study part. Students can practice the vocabulary that they learned during the lesson, and in the end they can see, now I can, for example, I can say hello and goodbye. I can introduce myself. All these I can sentences will raise students' awareness about what they learn during the unit. Okay. Now I want to show how we can use the online materials, sources that we have. Okay. Right. So we downloaded from the disk, right? We downloaded from the disk, right?
You're looking for the workbook material?
Yeah, the workbook and
Is
all
it
the.
on there?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's here. Okay.
Great.
So every Touchstone has a actually disk that helps both students and teachers to see some assessment materials. So, like, if you want to see how your students are progressing, you can actually design your own test, or you can use already designed, materials like written quizzes, or you can actually have oral quizzes for every unit. Cambridge has designed different oral and written tests. So they're very reliable, and they have their keys and they have answers and everything. So it's very useful for teachers because they're reliable and valid, and they're all based on the units of the book. Okay, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the Unit 1 and written quiz. Okay, now you can see the written quiz contains different types of questions, from multiple choice to fill in the blank type of questions. And if you want to also test your students' speaking and listening skills, then you can actually try the oral quizzes. Okay. You can have oral quiz PDF or Word, and quiz sample answers and quiz sample answers in Word and PDF as well. Okay. Ask these questions. Answer your partner's questions. Hi, how are you? What's your last name? How do you spell your last name? What's your phone number? Use a conversation strategy for the last question. This is a conversation strategy. After you answer your partner's question, ask, how about you? So this is an oral quiz that students can do in pairs, right? And there are some other questions that you can raise during the exam. so on. Okay. And we have the score record sheet, so you can have you can record all the students' scores here. As you can see, there is the quiz 1, quiz 2, and you can come up in the end total score for each student. All right. We have the oral tests, and we have also the written tests. After every 3 units, at the end of the book, you can also see that there are like extra practice part, which is also very important. But in the book, after every 3 units, you will have the checkpoint. Okay, the checkpoint is also very good, but this is for students mainly, self-study. So this is like a test, and students can do by themselves or with the guidance of the teacher. So you can do this, you can give this one as a homework, or you can let students practice this part in the classroom. In addition to this, at the end of the book, we have the extra practice part. So extra practice part is mainly for actually grammar points and vocabulary. Right? Students have that too in their books. So they do not have only checkpoint, but they have also extra practice at the end of the book. All right. At the end of the book, we have also sound. There's that one. Sound part, which helps students practice the words that they learn. Free talk. Yeah, you have also the free talk part, comes before the sounds part. The free talk part, in every unit we have the conversation strategies, remember? And in every conversation strategy there is a topic. So students come up with different speaking, techniques or strategies that they can use. And in addition, you can use these free talk part, with your students. So they practice the vocabulary, they practice all the expressions that they learn during the lesson. Okay, so we have the free talk, extra practice, and we're supposed to have the sound part 2. Okay, that's all I can say about the Touchstone. It's a highly useful book, and it's very teacher-friendly book. I found it very useful in my class with my students, and it's highly communicative. The main focus is on communication, and we have finished almost like the first 6 or 8 units in our book, Touchstone 1, and I found that students are progress a lot, and they learn a lot of items, expressions, and they keep like using even during the break times and after the school, because I have like some students in my WhatsApp group, and we keep like talking each other, and they keep like using the expressions that they learn in the class. So so far we found it very useful, and thank you for watching, and thank you for listening, Scott. Yeah.
So with the workbook, does the workbook come with, I've used this before at another school, you kind of scrape the UPC code and you have access to some extra computer work?
Yeah, every student has a passcode actually.
Oh.
Well, actually that raises an issue with me, because this morning Kimberly pointed out to me that there is a book that has workbook access and there's a book that does not. Now, I took a picture of both IBN codes because I think the one that we have here, the sole book that has the online resources, may be a book that Cambridge University Press gave us as a sample. But the ones that I've been purchasing apparently don't have that access. So I want to change that going forward, although I don't know how that changes the price. But I need to figure out I'm gonna go back and look at my invoice to see exactly what I bought.
Right.
But until this morning, I really didn't know that there were two different ones.
Yeah.
So it may be that, and it would say it right on the book.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, we do have one in our little library
Mm-hmm.
that does have an access code that
Oh.
you probably just can't, everybody can't go on at once.
Right.
But if the teachers want to use it to facilitate your class, but right now, I don't believe the students have that access unless I
Yeah.
buy
Well,
the particular book.
usually when students buy the books, they have the access code
Right.
at the back of the book.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
check it.
And with these, codes, they can go online actually, and they can connect to Cambridge University
Mhm.
Press, website, and
That's
then
great.
they can use their
Interactive.
password, and then they can use it. And teacher can follow because teacher has an access as well. Cambridge Online does. So whatever students does during the day, teacher can see it right that time simultaneously.
Real time.
Yeah.
So you can even give homework using those resources.
Oh yeah.
So does every student in your class have the Touchstone workbook?
No, not now.
But you can
No.
print
But I'm
out the
actually
online
printing
version.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm printing out a lot of
Good.
things from online things.
I think part of it is that the books
But I
aren't
use a
cheap,
lot.
and to
Yeah.
ask them to pay a lot for, they're only here,
Yeah.
either 4 or 6 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the book comes like a package.
you buy with
Yeah.
the workbook, the book.
Yes,
Okay.
because they, Cambridge is actually trying to. What I understand is pushing the people to use online materials rather than the paperback. Because it's students can access wherever they are, as long as they
Makes
have
sense.
internet, even on their telephones and computers and everything. So I think it's a good idea actually. Instead of carrying this heavy stuff all the time
Right.
with you,
And
you
you
can type,
online
and
too.
teacher can access, and teacher can follow, how much my students, do today. Let me see, and then the teacher can see activities 1 to 5. Okay, completed. It's beautiful actually. It's beautiful, and you can see it. Let me try if I can open and if I can show my.
So you have a code there for the
I do
teachers'
have.
book.
Well, it's because I'm also teaching in Bunker Hill. I have but every teacher you can also you can access. You can open an account.
Okay,
There's
so
no
everybody
charge.
opens
There's
their
no
own account.
Yeah. Every teacher opens an account, and you can see your students actually online. Work. Yeah.
So the
It's free.
teacher's book online.
The teacher's book online. We all download it here. There's a teacher's book
That's
on
just
every computer. We have
But
it.
it's just the teacher's part, it's not the student's part.
Not a student's book.
No.
Yeah. Not a student's book.
That is actually a book that somebody took the time to scan in as a
Mhm.
PDF and
Yeah.
put it out there online.
Yeah, but as far as I know, that every teacher's book, I think they have online. You should be able to. Once you have an account, can you try today? Can you open an account on Cambridge? It's
Maybe.
very easy.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe
after-
tomorrow,
I
yeah.
have to work.
Yeah, I know.
I have an
Whenever you
account.
have time.
Yeah, I don't know, would that just be good for me, or could I then give access to other people through my account?
It's-
Make it
it's
easy for them?
Easy, yeah, easy, very
I mean, I
easy.
could try that,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
the easier I make materials for you to access,
Okay.
the more likely teachers are to access them.
Okay, let me see. Cambridge English, thanks. Okay, you see that it says sign and register here?
Yes.
So you can register here. You can register yourself as a teacher, which I did. I did registration, and then when the students have their passcodes, when they also register, they have also their passwords and everything, and you can see online, you can access the students' work.
Is that because you have their passcodes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have the administrative code they give you.
Oh,
And
You
then-
can add
then
your
you can-
students, so to
yes.
speak.
It's valuable actually. But
and it
Yeah,
has all
yeah.
Cambridge's
Yeah.
books?
all Cambridge's books. No, because you have to, when you register, you have to, it's actually the system is asking you
What
which
you're
book
using.
or what you're using, which material you're using. So you have to come up with a, specific book,
Right.
specific material.
So this would be good for Touchstone too.
Touchstone 2,
Okay.
Touchstone 1, all the books. And actually, if you don't have, for example, the CD, I mean, we downloaded all these, quizzes and written exams and oral exams, whatever, here on the computer. Well, some people don't have the CD writer and they cannot download it. So what they do, they go to the website and then they can open their, own account and they can see the quizzes and test online as well.
Oh, okay, all the
They're
ones
all
we have on our own
Yeah.
laptops.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you can do that too. It's reachable. It's easy to reach.
So it's worth it for every one of our teachers to register here as a teacher.
Yeah, and it takes only like 2 minutes to register. You just give your name and the name of the school and what material you're using. That's it.
And then they give you the
Yeah.
free access. That's
Easy.
wonderful.
Yeah. And then maybe it asks like a couple of personal questions like telephone numbers or address, but you can skip them if you don't want to answer. Yeah, easy peasy. The reason I chose the Cambridge books was
Because of their
because of
resources.
this actually, because you can reach them anytime, anywhere, and it gives you, a lot of like opportunities to even improve yourself, because some people, I have noticed that some people do not have these literacy skills, digital literacy skills. So the students, when they practice this computer, this online, activities, they drag the item from here and there. They know how to write in the boxes, so their digital literacy skills can also be improved, which I like it also.
Oh.
And I think this is one of the purposes or one of the standards that Massachusetts Education Department ask for, the schools and colleges to include this in their program, in their curriculum, because they want the newcomers, immigrants to have these skills as well, besides these language skills.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Great. Any question? Any more question? You're good?
We're
I'm
good?
good. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.